Welcome back to my live. In words of Papa Meat, how you doing? I haven't been on TikTok, so before we get started, just want to catch everybody up on a little bit of what's been going on with me. I've been dealing with a bunch of bogus bullshit in life, but your boy's handling it. I did have a little bit of an overreaction and hurt myself a little bit and had to take care of some medical problems. So that was a big reason why I haven't been updating my tarot posts and stuff. Another big reason is I've been getting a little bit more into another creative aspect of myself that I've been wanting to share with the world for quite a long time. Never really had the guts to do it until now. So tonight, that's kind of what this whole live is going to be about. I'm going to share what I've been working on with y'all. So if you like what I do, please give me a look up on Reddit. You can find this work under my name, u/leave financial. On subreddits such as r/tales from the creeps, r/creepypasta, r/no street sleep refugees, r/creepy tales from the creeps _submissions. I think those are the 4 places I normally post. I did originally post this to No Sleep, but it's fucking No Sleep. Yeah, I immediately got banned for commenting on my own video or on my own content for trying to expand the meta even more. Because you don't have high enough karma or whatever. I don't know what the fuck No Sleep's deal is. They're just like every other big time fucking Reddit fucking sub now. They all just are so overly moderated. Plus, like the structure of what you have to do for a story on No Sleep is cool, but it's very limiting. What I like about Tales from the Creeps is you can post a whole plethora of ideas. Like the poem I just submitted for the contest this month. Like, I wouldn't be able to do that on No Sleep, and that's very experimental. Go check it out. It's on r/tales from the creeps 12. It's on r/tales from the creeps 12-second loop. It's very short read. It's like 12-second read. Very experimental thing for me. I don't usually write poetry, and I've never written something in second person. So this is like a second person, like, very short but repeatable like type poem, because you're supposed to read it from start to finish and then keep going, and your mind deteriorates because you can't stop it. It was inspired. I'm not really going to tell you what it's about. We're just going to jump on into it and see what you think, but we're going to banter a little bit first. I want a little set a little mood before we get in, because this isn't a YouTube video, this is a live. So I can invite guests. Let's invite them in. I'm just clicking on some random invites. If you get invited and you come, I just clicked randomly. Let me know if you're interested in hearing the story. I'm going to give it about 5 more minutes of us just bantering, and then we're going to begin. So if you want to join in and watch, bring your friends in. This is me sharing why I've been away from TikTok for a minute. And this is going to be a little bit different content than what I usually do. But this is another form of content that I am very passionate about, and I hope you guys enjoy it, because I really enjoyed writing it. So, a few more minutes of banter. Like I said, I'm just teasing you. I'm just trying to get some people in here before we really get into the story, because it's not super long. It's pretty short. And it's meant to be that way, because I wanted to do this in like a Reddit style format. There's a lot more to this story. Hopefully you could pick up on that within the subtext, but there's a lot of the subtext that I'm going to flesh out into other chapters eventually. So, let's see if we can get some more invites in before we get going on this. All right, I got some more invites. Sent some invites. I don't really have much else to say, so instead of waiting for more people to join, I think we're probably just going to jump right into the story. This is my first time narrating out loud, and I'm doing my own work, so I'm a little nervous. I probably will banter and break off. I don't know. It's going to be messy. This is raw. But I guess, shit. And I'm not going to be looking at the screen because I have the text up on my computer, so I'm going to read from there. Without further ado, I guess, let's invite you to my pizza party. So, remember, this is a creepypasta. I'm not doing creepy background music, but I am going to try to read it with, like, creepypasta voice. To start this off, let me be perfectly clear. I'm not seeking closure. God knows I've already found more of that than I ever wanted. No, I need to get all this off my chest. If I type this out, if I share this with all of you, maybe I could pretend this is all just another creepy Reddit story. Let's begin with me. I'm posting this from my office I've inherited from my parents, the once crown of our local community, Doughy Doug's Artisan Pizza Parlor. Doug being my father, of course. I loved my dad. Everyone did. His popcorn flour on his nose perfectly matched his jolly, dusty apron, and he always had the appropriate joke to tell any person of any age. He loved good humor and good food, which he genuinely loved to provide. My dad, the master baker, he was my personal hero. As I remember him, it leaves a pit of sadness within me. I wish I could remember this as I used to, through the lens of an ignorant child, only caring about the next legendary Pokemon waiting for me in the tall grass. I wish I could go back to the kitchen and knead the dough for the yearly send-off party. Those were some of my best memories. But memories have a way of becoming the ghosts that haunt our past. And memories bury the truth we were never meant to understand. For most kids in the 90s and early 2000s, catching the Pizza Hut bucket deals and the slices of bar was the bee's knees. Those middle school kids were missing out, though. Our small kitchen produced the best pies outside of Brooklyn and Detroit. The parlor, as my mom would lovingly recall, was the little marrow that gives life to the bones of our small town. She loved poetic phrases like that. In another life, she could have been a poet. There was always something special about her town that always just seemed, nothing out of place to me. The surrounding communities fell into economic collapse during the Bush years. Fucking Republicans, am I right? Politics aside, there was just something we seemed to produce that the towns around us couldn't. It wasn't anything a kid would notice, nor many adults, unless you stayed in town long enough. But for those of us who lived here, it was a quiet slice of pure Americana paradise. It wasn't perfect. Hang on, I lost my spot. It wasn't perfect, as every year some family would move out of town. But before they did, my parlor would always throw them a grand send-off pizza party. And us kids would have the most important role of the party, to crown the leaving king or queen of the oven. Of course, that role was played by the oldest kid moving away. I never understood why every year another family would leave this amazing cove of Midwestern hospitality. But then again, there was always another family moving in to replace them. And that was the way it was until I met until my first send-off party as the official dough kneader. I met my best friend, Kenny. And that's where I originally broke off in my first post. So we're going to take a little bit of a discussion break there. Do you like what I'm doing so far? If you like what I'm doing so far, let me know. All of this is very new to me. This is my first story. This is my first reading. So if you like what I'm doing, look me up on Reddit. Find this story on Reddit. Please give it some upvotes, some views. I have more stuff I'm doing. I have another thing I've done already, but yeah. So this is the reason why I've been away from TikTok for a while. I've been kind of working on this. So let's jump right back into it. Remember, this was originally supposed to be a 4-part series on r/no sleep. I was kind of forced to do it a little differently, but I'm still going to try to read it that way. So let's jump right back in. Okay, guys, I'm rested and ready to continue. Had some pleasant dreams of chasing some Pokemon last night. I find myself thinking about Kenny. If, like me, he would still be collecting as an adult. Well, I found some weird numbers in the books that year. Gonna look at that some more as I drop the next bit of my trip down memory lane. Memory. His family was one of the more well-off in the town. His father, being the mayor, was one of the coolest dads around. Well, after mine, of course. We met that day over some pizza. He approached me as I was munching a slice of our famous pepperoni pie and playing some Pokemon on my old Game Boy. As a skinny blonde boy came over to my table, I caught sight of his Pokemon shirt. "Who's your favorite?" he asked me. "Pretty much any fire type," I replied, passing him a slice. "Nice shirt. I'm Dusty, by the way. Who's your favorite?" He sat in the booth with me, and instantly I knew we were going to be best friends. "I love Blastoise," he said. "His water cannons are so cool. My dad's going to give me silver when it comes out next week. Hey, you got to get gold. We can get full Pokedexes if we get both versions." This was perfect. I had been begging for the release of the game, but I had no one to trade or battle with. Now, it seemed, I had found a fellow trainer to master the Pokemon world with. Just as I was, having some nasal issues. It's like I said, this is a raw read, so we're going to have some hiccups. Alright, let's get back to where I was. Oh. And of course, I don't have this copy and pasted correctly with the paragraph structure it's supposed to have. Alright, so where are we at? Okay, we're talking about the Pokemon and best friends. We met the best friends. There we go. Alright, this is where we left off. Just as I was showing my newfound buddy my current party, my dad interrupted us, leading a smiling older boy to the king's booth, with all of us kids climbing in around him chanting, "Long live the king! May his ovens burn brightest and his coin always flow." My mom wrote that little part. I tell you, she had a way with words. This was the ritual we performed for the oldest kid moving away. Dad would place a paper crown, kind of like the ones you get from Burger King, on the king or queen's head, and give them a giant cup of arcade coins that would last the whole night. After that, everyone would hit the arcade, each with a greasy slice at the ready, and the evening would drown in the noise of the arcade and the laughter of kids living it up under their newly crowned liege. After that night, Kenny and I were inseparable. We both picked up the Pokemon games next week, and wouldn't you believe it, Kenny was also gifted a brand new Game Boy Color to go with it. And I got us the much needed link cable. Yeah, I stumbled on my words there. We'll explain that in a minute for the younger ones. To play. See, and I left off mid-sentence. Way to go, me. Back then, wait. I skipped a line. Fuck. Hang on. This is my own story and I'm fucking it up this bad. This is how you know I'm new at this. Alright. Yeah, he got the purple Game Boy. It's fitting the color he chose for that old handheld. Purple. The color of royalty. For those of you who grew up in the 2010s, you might wonder why we needed a cable to play. You know, back then there wasn't much for online gaming and Wi-Fi wasn't really around yet. If you wanted to battle together or trade for a Pokemon only achievable in that manner, you needed a link cable. And batteries. Lots of batteries. And of course a nice light, since those models were yet to come with backlights. The parlor booths were perfect for this, and Dad always made sure we never adventured on an empty stomach. I had been building quite a strong fire team, my Typhlosion leaving a burning wake of sadness for all who challenged me. Kenny would ride his Feraligatr around every body of water, amassing a collection that would make Misty swoon. We were mastering the map, conquering the gyms, and soon we were ready to face the Pokemon League. We were finally able to conquer. See, I stumbled over that. When we were finally able to conquer the Elite Four, we were ready to get into the meat of the game. It's very popular even today, so I'm sure most of you guys out there remember that beating the story is actually when games opened up. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how most of them still work. Anyway, again, I lost my spot because I don't have all of my paragraphs spaced out properly with this copy and paste shit. Yeah, especially for 2 players. Okay, there we go. We're back. Thanks for joining, everybody. I should have probably spaced these paragraphs out before reading this, but here we go again. We'll just pick right back up. We were top leveled with our starting parties. It had taken us all summer, countless hours in the booth, so much that we'd left indents in the seats and always had some dead batteries left behind. It was the best time of my life, which made it all the more devastating when Kenny told me his dad was running an election for governor, and he'd be moving to a bigger city so his dad could begin his campaign. Okay, I'm reading too fast. Let's pace this better. I'd been coming over to his house that day, so we could finally enter Lugia's cave, having caught and cloned Ho-Oh already. Anyone remember the glitch in the game? Yeah, we used that link cable glitch, so sue us. It was Kenny's turn to catch his prize. He didn't need to tell me he was moving. The white trucks that handled our deliveries around town were also used to help the moving families, pack up and move. I could probably write that sentence better. I knew our summer was over when I saw them parked in his driveway. Well, you have the fitting color, my king, I joked with him, promising that we'd make his send-off the absolute best, complete with our famous pies and, of course, the legendary Lugia. Looking back on that year gives me a sense of sadness. Sadness. Why did I say sadness? I'm thinking of 2 different lines in my story, sorry. Looking back on that year gives me a sense of happiness that I don't think I'll ever find again in this lifetime. I'm not sure if I deserve it anyway. Kitty's send-off party came all too soon. That night, we didn't hit the arcade. We had one final mission to accomplish. And just before closing up, we managed to catch and successfully clone Lugia. As Kenny was led to the back to collect his final prize, I was left to help close the parlor and wait outside for my mom to pick me up. As I was waiting for what seemed like hours, I saw our white trucks come and go at least twice without so much as a finger of the tip from the driver. Yeah, they're usually pretty friendly with me, you know? Like they didn't even see me. As I turned to go back inside, my mother came rushing to me, embracing me in a panic-stricken hug. Where have you been, Dusty? I was so worried. I know our town is fairly safe, but don't go running off like that by yourself this late. If it wasn't for old Mr. Jones spotting you in the parking lot, I'd have thought you ran away. Confused, I asked her how long it had been. I locked up 3 hours ago. I've had your father and Kenny's dad driving around looking for you, and here you are. Where did you go? I never left. You said Mr. Jones spotted me? Yes. At first I thought it was just his dementia, but then I saw you out there. He kept saying he could see you, but you're not there. And now we're going to jump back into me talking to you in Reddit, because this was, again, supposed to be on No Sleep. But, No Sleep hates creators, so. I find myself wanting to go crack open a pack of Pokemon cards now, as I'm, getting into the 2002 ledgers. That was the year Kenny left. And I find myself looking through the inventory and books around that night. I guess it's safe to say Kenny had lost his election. But then again, I've noticed something odd. That night, around 2 to 3 a.m., the lost hours I'd spent in some dimension of my own creation, there was an anonymous wire transfer to my house. But now I have access to all of the books. The sender? The mayor himself. Not sure why that stands out to me, but I guess I'll figure that out later. Now I turn my attention to my father's recipe binder. After all these years, I'll finally get my hands on his coveted pies. Maybe I'll share a slice with y'all. If you want a slice, I'll definitely share one. I'm getting hungry, so I guess I'll go grab some Domino's. It's not the same, but hey, fixes the craving I build up. I'll post more once I've eaten. Thanks for the love, everyone. All right, and that would be technically where the end of the first half of the story is. If everybody's listening along, let me know what you think so far. I'll give it a moment for everybody to respond. I'm gonna have a little puff and a little drink before I move on. Because if I was posting this on No Sleep, I probably would have given it like a week at least between this and the next part. I don't know. I don't really know how the metrics work on No Sleep. But is everybody liking my creepypasta so far? Because we're about to nosedive in the next half. So also, let me know what you think of the characters, the prose, the whole overall. Anybody have any tips, pointers? My reading style, because I've never really read stories out loud, let alone my own creation. When we had to do this in middle school, I was too nervous. I had to have the teacher fucking like personally read my shit. So I've always had this like I don't know if I'm good enough kind of imposter syndrome bullshit going on, and now I'm just kind of saying fuck it and doing it. So if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. I like it. I'm having a little vape and a beer. Consuming substances warning. I'm an adult. This is nicotine vape, by the way. It's not like gonna fucking destroy me. It's salt in it. Also, my content is meant for people 18 and older. Not really for under 18. If you are under 18 and you're enjoying my story, please share it, especially if you're under 18 and you can get the context of stuff, because this isn't really too deep, but I do plan on writing stuff that's going to be much deeper, I guess. I don't know. I'm getting a little ahead of myself with all that. Let's get back into the story. I wanted to just take a little conversation break so you get a feel for the first and second half. All right, so we're gonna get back into it. This is the second half. Originally, this would have been two parts on r/no sleep. It's written and posted as one in Tales from the Creeps. So I know it's confusing, but that's why I originally intended this for No Sleep, and it just didn't work out. So, all right, let's get back into it. I gotta have a drink. I'm getting a little dry mouth. All right, I'm back, everyone. Sorry for the delay. Domino's took forever to deliver less than a satisfactory pie, but hey, I'm about to learn to make a better one, right? Anyway, I'm just typing this out, glancing at the empty box, smelling of lesser grease than my taste buds are accustomed to. After you've had ours, I mean, nothing else compares. I have the recipe book sitting right next to me. Sorry. I have the recipe book sitting. Sorry. I'm having gas problems. Shouldn't be having beverages this late with GERD, but here we go. All right, let's get back into it. I fucked that sentence up twice, I think now. Third time's a charm, right? I have the recipe book sitting right next to it, almost like it wants to fill the box with a superior product. Also, all y'all people in these comments need to relax. First of all, my mother was a saint, and my father was the nicest man in town, and everyone fucking knew that. I was loved and cared for far better than most kids get, so I don't see why everyone's concerned here. I had a pretty normal upbringing, but now that I'm reading this binder, I'm forced to remember 2006 in high school. It was then that I stopped being a patron and occasional floor sweeper of the parlor, and when I began to actually share our family's legacy. So now, as I unlock the binder and I hear the click of the padlock, I find my hands shaking a little bit. I know it sounds dumb. It's just a book of pizza formulas. But after all these years of seeing Dad guard this book like it's a dragon's treasure, I can't help but have some trepidation as I post this. As I see my mom's lovely cursive written in the pages, and the same kind she used to write her loving poems my lunches, I can hear her voice echo from the flour and grease-stained pages, and it makes me smile, and a little tear fills my eye. As I read this, I'm reminded of that summer in 2006, and the send-off party for my high school buddy Jimmy. As I recall these memories, I'll try to transcribe my mother's words. Forgive me if I jump to flashbacks. It's rushing back to me as I type, so I'll try not to confuse you guys too much. It was 1 a.m. on a Friday night. While all my friends were out partying and making the same mistakes and mishaps we all did in those days, I was stuck helping up the parlor. We had finished cleaning and closing for the night, and that left two final tasks: helping Dad bring in the newest shipment of meat and finishing the dishes. "Meat's here, kiddo. Help your old man bring it inside," Dad called out to me as I was locking the front doors. I made my way to the back door with a little excitement. Tonight was the first time I'd ever been allowed to handle delivery, so even though I was stuck working, at least I had something new to look forward to. My dad patted me on the shoulder as we approached those familiar white trucks, with equally white large tubs of fresh livestock in the backs. As I unloaded my first tub, I felt an odd shift of the weight, and asked Dad, "Shouldn't frozen meat be packed tightly in here?" "See, kiddo, your dad does it right," Dad said with a jolly chuckle. "It's far cheaper to buy fresh livestock straight from the farm, and this stuff has a much higher iron content in the processed crap. That's the secret to our sweet pepperoni. Fresh meat with good iron. Our pizzas are not only the best tasting, but they hold your body up with proper nutrition." I loved how enthusiastic he was about his craft. As we brought in the last tub, my eyes caught the recipe binder sitting under the shine of our huge meat slicer, and I got curious. "Dad, you say this is passed down from father to son, so when do I get to learn the trade fully?" My dad got somber then, more serious than I've seen him only a handful of times growing up, and I knew instantly I shouldn't have asked. "Well, son, hopefully not for a long time. We only passed this book on to our sons after we, you know, hopefully you'll be full grown and ready to take on the parlor yourself. I love you, son. I hope that time is still years away." I found that a bit odd and deeply saddening. I wanted to get the thought of losing my dad completely out of my head. I just couldn't fathom a life without his jolly presence, and I was mad at myself for making him remember that gloomy detail. So I set my mind to the dishes, put my hands in the dark orange murk of the grease-infused water, and my mind wandered back to the events of the week before. The week we gave Jimmy his grand send-off and crowned him king of the oven. We're going to take a little bit of a break there so I can check chat. What's going on with chat? We're going to invite some more people in. What's up? All right, we're going to go right back in. I remember it most vividly because it was the last send-off that I'd get to partake in instead of working in. So I made sure to use all my coins and fill myself until I had that classic pizza coma, we jokingly called it when we had a bit too much. I remember watching my jolly father proudly crowning Jimmy's smiling face as we all chanted the familiar cadence. "Long live the king of the ovens. May his ovens always burn hottest and his coin always flow forever." I fucked that up a little bit. We're going to keep going. And as I'm remembering this, the meat curing recipe comes to me in my mother's lovely voice and flowing script. In Mom's cursive. "The dough has been kneaded and proofed, soft cooked to perfection. Now to cure the meats. A loving heap of sugar blends into the sweet marrow and locks in the iron for peak sweetness. Not as sweet as my little Dusty, though." I chuckle at that, even now. I knew she loved me with her entire being, and I loved her. My mind went right back to the party. After it was winding down, and we were all drowsy with that heavy pizza lethargy, I wandered around back to begin some dishes, and that's when I saw through the glass. My father was leading Jimmy right back into the prep room, right where the massive iron meat slicer stood waiting under the harsh fluorescent lights. And my mom was right there beside him. I'll never forget the look on her face as those heavy steel doors slammed shut and locked with a loud metallic ka-chink right in my face. That was not my smiling, poetic dreamer of a mother. That cold, motionless face belonged to a complete stranger. In Mom's cursive. The meat must be as fresh as possible, preferably straight from slaughter. It goes without saying, never frozen. As I read that, I'm reminded of that cold stare. The reality of what I'd seen was zooming around in my mind. Guys, I think it's time I come clean. Because up until now I haven't been entirely honest with my recollections. I'll update this soon. I have to be in prep for tomorrow. It's the first day the parlors will be back in business since I took over, so gotta go practice Dad's recipe. Don't want to disappoint on my first day. I promise when I come back I'll explain everything. But God knows I'm not ready to face it. Because I have to sometime. Meanwhile, it's time to bake. Alright, we're gonna take a little break there. We're getting right to the little end of the story, but I gotta put a little break there. It's a good spot for a breaking point, I think. So everybody like my story so far? This is the first thing I've ever written in this genre, so if you like it, go check it out on Reddit. It's on r/Tales from the Creeps, titled Pizza Party. And now we return. In Dad's voice, sharpening the slicer. You have to keep the red edges razor sharp. You need to be able to slice through the marrow like butter, kiddo. I'm back. And this is going to be my final post. I'm scrubbing the account after this. I just thought if I posted this, if I communicated with all of you that maybe at least for a while, I could pretend that I'm a regular man, a regular American upbringing. I know that's not the case, and it never was. I've not been entirely honest with you. I've seen your comments telling me to run, to report the ledgers, to get out. You guys think you guys think you know my family better than me? I've lived this, and I still must. I'm sorry I lied. I just needed to feel normal as I set up shop. This weekend was a pure success. We were sold out by dinner time, and even the high school football team come cram their faces. The town was hungry, and I fed them. The town will continue to need food, and I will provide. As I take the final walk back to the freezer to wrap up what's left of this week's shipment of meat, I have one final confession. I did not discover the ledger when I said I did. Tonight was not my first experience with the recipe book. Well, I'm sure you can put the pieces together, Reddit. You guys are a bunch of regular sleuths, after all. As I slam the doors with a heavy ka-chink, I know. And I'm guessing by now you do as well. I know why we honored the King's Booth ritual. Why we crowned him King of the Oven. Why our town was, and still is, the most prominent in the region. And it's all because we became That. And that is my story. What do you think? That's my first story I put on the creepypastas. That's my creepypasta. So let's keep talking a little bit because it is a pretty short story. I do have it fleshed out and more ideas. I just wanted to get it into like I wanted to leave a lot of it in the subtext, just get it out there. Just put it out there first of all. Uh, this isn't the original concept that I like sat down to write. This kind of evolved as I wrote it. And then I spent like the last like 4 days staying up till like fucking 3 a.m. rewriting, re-editing, organizing, making sure the timelines matched up, and I still noticed some timeline discrepancies there. If you really know what time of year that game came out, it wouldn't have actually happened in the summertime. When I'm talking about the Pokemon game, because that came out in October, not in the summertime. But I didn't really remember that detail. I'm also writing from the perspective of a person who's a few years younger than my actual self. But if you were all listening, let me know what you think. Drop some comments, drop some stuff in the chat. You can go ahead and follow me. I said u/sleeve_financial on Reddit, or you can just go to Reddit, r/Tales from the Creeps is probably the best place to find me. Just look up Pizza Party, or 12-Second Loop is another piece that I've released there. Or you can just watch me do my tarot on here, or maybe even schedule a personal tarot reading with me. I still need to set that up in a more official format, but again, that was my story, Pizza Party. I just wanted to give it a read out there. I was going to save this, record it, and post it onto YouTube, but I think I'm going to do a more polished version of that if I do that. So we'll just use my other camera and edit it properly. But yeah, I'm going to hang out and talk for a minute because I'm not really ready to go to bed yet. So what did y'all think of my pizza party? And if you have any questions or ideas, or if you want to talk about what I didn't say in the story, because there's a lot that I didn't say that is going on, and your mind can take it a lot of different ways. That's why I left it in the subtext to begin with, because what I actually have planned when I flesh this out is going to blow people's minds if they don't really, really look into the subtext. And by that, I mean also, you got to reread the story after knowing the ending. I don't know. I was trying to avoid a lot of what like modern creepypasta does. I don't like a lot of that for the algorithm shit. I just wanted to write a good scary story that ties into the kind of scary shit that's always like made me want to do this. That's made me like this as a medium. So, if I'm gonna shout out some inspirations, I would say Baraska, Pen Pal, lots of Stephen King, House of Leaves, anything Chuck Palahniuk has ever written. um, who else? There's Clive Barker, big inspiration of mine. Elias Withrow. I don't know how you say his name. Black Farm, Tommy Taffy. Basically, I wanted to write the opposite of like Jeff the Killer or Happy Happy, because that shit sucks dick. Good concepts and some decent like ideas there. I would never like hate on a creator, especially a young kid like that, for trying to like create something. But like, you need to make your character. I agree with Stephen King and people like that. You need to make the people feel for your world and your characters before you fucking destroy them right in front of the reader's face. And that's kind of what I was trying to get into with this. It's a little bit of a short version of what I really wanted to do, but I really needed to get the ending out while it was fresh in my head before I fucked it up. So I think I did a good ending. So if you don't think I did a good ending, let me know why you don't think I did a good ending, and maybe it'll help me improve. So that's just me ranting about my story. That was Pizza Party. If you missed the story and you're just joining now, well, I'm not going to go back and reread it, but you can always read it on Reddit. Again, I'll just say r/Tales from Creeps Pizza Party. I ain't trying to win no competition with this. I just wanted to contribute something of my own to the forum because I really like this community, and always been a big fan of horror. So I'm taking a shot and putting myself out there. So this was me. You, what is it? U/leave_financial. I also go by the pen name DB Dyer, or you just call me fucking Duder because that's what I prefer. But if you're gonna refer to my book name, it's DB Dyer. I don't have a publisher. I don't have an editor. I'm just me. I do all my editing, all my publishing, all this. Like right now, I'm just sitting in my basement room on my fucking phone. So, if you're wondering if you can do this, yes, you can. Will you get noticed for it? That doesn't really fucking matter. Just do it. Will I get noticed for this? I don't really care. Well, I'm seeing some likes, so I think I'm getting noticed. Thanks for the life, Wolf Jordan. Wolf Jordan. I said Wolf Jordan. I'm sorry. I got a little bit of cotton mouth because I was vaping earlier. And then I read a whole story that I wrote. So, which I'm not used to reading out loud. Usually it's all in my head. But if you like the way I delivered it, let me know if you think I have the skill to, like, maybe, I don't know, narrate other people's stories. Or if you have a story and you want me to narrate it, I would totally do it. Good or bad. I'm just a fair warning. If I find it bad, I will make fun of it. If I find it good, I will make fun of it. If it's deeply traumatizing, like the stuff I'm trying to write, I will definitely have humorous banter because that's how I cope with that kind of stuff. Not saying I won't read it, though. Always submit your stories to me. You can submit them, I guess, probably on Reddit's the best place. I think I have my email shared here. You can always submit there as well. If it's shared here, if not, I'll figure out how to update that. Because I would love to do some raw live readings of other people's work as well. Actually, I do have one in mind that I might do. I'm not going to tell you what that is, though. Actually, I got a couple in mind I might do. But there's one for sure I might do. So, just one more little creative spark I must give you is my 2-sentence horror story I came up with today. This is a joke, but it's my 2-sentence horror story. You were never alone. The creature has always been there beside you. Anybody who watches Creepcast will get that. Anyway, this is my debut as an author in the indie horror online community. So, let me know if you liked the story, or if you want to see more from me, or hear more from me, or would like to have your story read. Just reach out to me, DM me here. It doesn't really fucking matter. If I don't see it right away, I'll try to get back to you. I do have a regular 9-to-5 job, so I do get very busy, but anyway, thank you for tuning in to the live. I don't know how long we've been going. I know my story is not very long, so we can keep talking, but I don't really have much else to talk about. Oh, I know how we can end this. I'm going to go grab a deck of cards and we'll give you a 1-card, 1-sentence tarot read or oracle read, depending on which deck I pick. We'll go ahead and end that with a reading. And thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, contributing. And again, if you want your story read, go ahead and submit it to me. Good or bad, I will read it. So, what do we want to draw from? What do we want to draw from? Let's do standard Rider-Waite-Smith. I don't give this deck enough love, probably because everybody uses it. It's the golden standard in tarot, and it's not the one that I traditionally trained with. That's probably why. For those of you that just don't know, my main deck is the Book of Thoth, Egyptian tarot, Aleister Crowley, Lady Frida Harris, Sacred Geometry, stuff like that. But this deck is, the golden standard for a reason. Let's go ahead and give you one card. One card and one. It may not be one sentence because it's been a while since I've done any readings. It's been a couple weeks, so I got to get back into it a little bit. But go ahead and clear the deck's energy first. Go ahead and everybody who's watching now, please touch the screen. Don't ask a question or anything. Just touch the screen. I just need some energy. Cool. I'm feeling compelled to pull right now, actually. And we drew the Knight of Pentacles. Not a shabby card for what I just did tonight. Be brave and expose yourself. You might just be surprised with what you can accomplish. But also know your vulnerabilities and know how to protect yourself and keep yourself grounded. Because there are people who will take advantage of that. And that's the message I'm getting from the Knight of Pentacles tonight. I said one card, that's all we're getting. So on that, I'm probably going to wind down. I will be posting again regularly more often now, so thank you for watching. Again, if you like my creepypasta, you like my reading, you want your story read, go ahead and hit me up. DM me here, hit me up on Reddit. I told you where to hit me up. Tales from the Creeps, r/Tales from the Creeps, u/Lee Financial. And here, DM me here. I think I have my email in the bio. If not, let me know and I'll put it up there. Those are probably going to be the best 3 ways to get a hold of me, especially if you want your work featured with my work or something. If you want me to read your stuff or, whatever. Share your art. You can share your art with me. I'll post your art. Let's do it. I just want to lift up other creators too because I'm like super into this now. So if you liked my story, I hope you did. If you didn't, I'll try to write something better. Until next time, stay spooky. How do I end this? It's been a while since I've streamed from my phone, guys. Forgive me. Also, don't cut this, editor. I don't have an editor. I'm my editor. How do I end my stream? I'm so confused. I think I know how to do it now, guys.